both right and wrong, and we are on many sides simultaneously. What is being said is basically that there is actually some point, there is a usefulness, and this is something that film critics have echoed quite widely in the recent past, that there is some usefulness in associating the moment around 1955, as the title of the panel says, 50s cinema, the moment around 1955, associating that with a nation building kind of project, let's say a national reconstruction project or something, sometimes called Nehruvianism and so on, as a shorthand. Now, actually, I mean, we are probably now proposing, what emerges from this discussion is a kind of ideological horizon within which people worked, so that it could be, in some cases, a straight mandate. So you go, you take this money, you make a film about land and the people, that kind of post-independence, post-colonial project that many countries in the world had actually. Their newly formed post-independence film bodies actually had this mandate, that you employ filmmakers to sort of, introduce our land and the people and their culture and so on. That was basically the films division kind of one of the big projects. That is one kind of thing, but to live within and share an ideological climate, to work against a common ideological horizon also means that sometimes the question of intentionality, whether you intended to make a Nehruvian film or not, and so on, becomes a bit confused, ambivalent, as Ravi said about Mother India. So there's a kind of spectrum, many people occupying many sort of positions within that spectrum. I would like to say, just to sort of recite a few facts so that maybe when the discussion goes to the floor or comes back to some of our speakers, some of the coordinates, chronological sort of points are in view, kept in view. If you allow me to do that. And it's very interesting, the kind of the film seminar, the first film seminar, that was the first film seminar to be organized in 1955. Very, very big event in Delhi. And the report is available from the Ministry of I&B. It's a fascinating kind of report of the proceedings of that seminar, which went on for 5 days, which usually doesn't happen for seminars. Now, this is organized by the Sangeet Natak Academy, which was formed just 2 years ago, 53. 54 is Lalit Kala and Sahitya Academy. This is sort of, in a way, the new state, new government entering into a kind of cultural, a governance of, that's a negative sounding word, some kind of cultural intervention, let's say, organizing a certain kind of cultural production for the new country. But it started right after independence. 48 is the formation of Films Division. And 49, the Films Division is entrusted with the S.K. Patil Inquiry Committee. That remains the most extensive and most useful survey of the film industry of that period. I mean, the things that we now say about the 40s and 50s are mostly, some of them, if you want to base them on sort of, on empirical facts, S.K. Patil Inquiry Committee report remains one of the best documents. It came out with the report in 1951, the biggest survey after the Cinematograph Committee of 1927-28, on which Kaushik Bhomik and many others have worked extensively, the earlier report. Then 52, you have this major, this 51 is the report. 52, you have this major festival, the first international film festival, organized under the aegis of the Films Division, which toured 4 cities. And almost all students of Indian cinema or observers of Indian cinema knows how crucial that festival was for the emergence of new trends in Indian cinema. Among the people who were deeply influenced by the films that they saw, and the same package moved from Delhi to Bombay to Calcutta to Madras. That was the itinerary, which is something that happened for the first time here. People saw Kurosawa, people saw most importantly, people saw Jacques Tati, people saw a whole lot of other films, but most importantly the post-war Italian films of Rossellini and so on, De Sica. So it was Ray Ghatak, recently something has been unearthed written by Ritik Ghatak at that time, where he says that a veil was lifted from before our eyes when we saw those films. We didn't know about this text, it was recently discovered. Mrinal Sen and these people on the one hand, at the other end of the spectrum maybe, are sort of somewhere little away from that group. Bimal Roy, Raj Kapoor, a whole lot of filmmakers I would say even Gurudat to some extent, and a new generation of cinematographers and so on were deeply influenced by that festival. 53, I mean, 53 is very important to me, not for governmental action that much, but for a very peculiar kind of coincidence of a number of very important social realist films being made. But I won't spend much time on that. It's sort of starting with Zia Sharadi down to Devaki Bose's Pathik and so on. A whole number of films. First film by Ghatak Nagarik and so on. Social realism coming to a climax. But that's not institutional history. 54 is when the national awards started. The first national awards started. So if you just follow this, 52 is the reformulation of this Indian Cinematograph Act. 55, the Sangeet Natak Academy, newly formed organization, is entrusted with organizing this mammoth seminar. I mean, almost everyone we knew, you can think of, starting with S.S. Vasan to Devika Rani Roerik to B.N. Sarkar, everyone was there. It's a kind of big mobilization. Nehru came and inaugurated the seminar. And what does B.N. Sarkar, the patriarch from New Theatres, Calcutta, say at the seminar? He says that so long we were on our own. Now, after Panditji's address and this seminar, we have to be responsible. So we have, this is almost like a new mandate has come to us. We have to be responsible citizens. And there is of course also this lurking kind of thought that we have to also produce on screen some kind of a model of a citizen, which can be Nehruvian, which can be, I think there is also this taxi driver kind of character who is navigating the city with such gusto and such energy in taxi, R-Par and taxi driver kind of films. That is also the picture of a new citizen emerging. So it's not always so easy to slot that, you know, it's a Mother India kind of citizen or Nayadaur kind of citizen. A very interesting range of kind of things. So this is the reason probably, climaxing in 55 in Pather Panchali and the film seminar and other activities, probably the reason why we sometimes choose this explanatory grid, that the nation, imagination of nationhood and so on, may serve a certain purpose in understanding that era. I mean, this is the reason probably we do that. But once again, I would repeat what almost everyone has said here, at sort of, including Sudhir and Kaushik, that it's not possible. For example, if you look at the film Pather Panchali, probably the most important cinematic event of 1955, you know, there is a sort of school of criticism that has seen this film as a kind of Nehruvian film, a kind of arrival on the national scene of the new citizen. Apu is a character like that. And this is very persuasive, powerful criticism. I mean, it cannot be dismissed very easily. And I'm partly persuaded by it, but not wholly, because that's, once again, that problem. There's this excess, spillover, ambivalence, as Ravi calls it, where you see in a film like that, of course, a response to the new nation emerging, but at the same time, what I would like to call a kind of idea of a place. That's where the region comes very interestingly into the picture. There is not necessarily a national territory that is being imagined, or a nation state or national project. There is also in these films, and there are of course many films like that made in the 1950s from various regions, including Bengal, where actually what you are now trying to mourn, lament sometimes, celebrate sometimes, is a very local language or a very local place, one place, not the abstract space of the nation, which is so teeming, sort of throbbing, so interesting, so texturally so dense in a film like Pather Panchali. So realism in that kind of cinema is employed towards an evocation of a place, which cannot be easily subsumed into the national, abstract, idealized space. So this is another sort of, because no one has mentioned Pather Panchali, discussed Pather Panchali so far, I thought that probably one can bring in that.